we'll be uh, talking we'll be talking about mainnet and testnet. So I think the word is pretty much self-explanatory. And that is the exact definition of those two words as well. So mainnet, also known as the main network, and the test network are terms used in blockchain ecosystem to describe blockchain networks with critical functionalities. So the mainnet is responsible for executing actual transactions within the network and storing them on the blockchain for public use. In contrast, the testnet provides an alternative environment that mimics the mainnet's functionality to allow developers to build and test projects without needing to facilitate live transactions or the use of cryptocurrencies. Because as we all know that every transaction holds some amount of like crypto in case of blockchain. So it will use a little bit of amount of money. So in the terms of blockchain, it will be some amount of crypto, which will be involved in every transaction. So, and then there will be transaction fee as well. So if we are going over mainnet and if we are doing those transactions, so they are costing actual money. But let's say if I just want to test my application, I can just go ahead with the testnet and just use that. So now let's dive a little deep into this mainnet first. So the original functional blockchain, known as the mainnet, is where the actual transactions occur in the distributed ledger and where native coins have real economic values. And mainnets, being a fully functional blockchain, can be used to transmit and receive any transaction, including cryptocurrencies and NFTs and transfer informations. So the mainnet executes the transaction within the network that are kept on the blockchain. So by deploying on the mainnet, its developer indicates the complete faith in the blockchain. And for example, Ethereum and Bitcoin are open source blockchain systems that are publicly verifiable and conduct authentic transactions with real economic values in the mainnet environment. And so there are other blockchains as well. So we can also talk about Flow blockchain. So I'll also show you how, you can use those testnets and all. So to incentivize miners to validate transactions and avoid network spamming, each transaction on blockchain needs a participant to pay a transaction fee in the native currency. So let's say if we allow everyone to just transact anything on the blockchain and without any real economic value, so it'll be spammed. So to avoid that, we use a little bit of fee to involve to make sure that the transaction is authentic. And each miner who is actually using all his capabilities, all the computing power to verify that transaction gets something in the reward. So let's also look over why is mainnet important, and also like why do we need a mainnet in the first place. So a mainnet performs several essential purposes, including establishing credibility and providing verifiable proof of advancement. So let's look a little into the credibility part. So a project with mainnet has unquestionably more credibility than one without. The presence of mainnet allows for the formation of a living ecosystem of participants, allowing for real-time interaction and transactions to take place in complete transparency. Sorry. And without a mainnet, a project is purely conceptual in the blockchain ecosystem with no working product for participants to test out. Then there is verifiable proof of advancement. So in this, the blockchain is a public ledger of all transactions accessible to everybody. So considering the blockchain is a public blockchain, we can claim our full rights to verify each of our dealings, to verify that we are updated on their status. The presence of mainnet indicates that the presence of mainnet indicates that a project is operational and progressing technically. Furthermore, because of public can engage in network and any failure could endanger the blockchain's inner workings, a live mainnet would test the blockchain's feature and capacities. As a result, launching the mainnet necessitates a significant amount of time and effort to guarantee that all the components are functionally correct. And then, so I mean, now we know why the mainnet is important. So let's have a little look over the use cases. So following the launch of crypto mainnet, most blockchains make the underlying code public. So users can more likely to trust such an open source projects. So let's say if I'm writing some piece of code and if I make that open source. So now there are two things which can happen. Someone might try to claim it as his own because and then there are other people who would actually help me out. So let's say I had a little solution. So there could be a person who would have a better solution to that particular problem. So he can just contribute to it. And once the contribution starts, it starts to build a community. And once we have set up with the community, people are more likely to trust it because now they know a lot of people are putting in their work, putting in their time, and putting in more effort to make that program more and more sufficient and more better in any way possible. Another use case could be security properties, so anti-spam capabilities and other mainnet features. So the anti-spam capability is, again, we just talked about the transactional fee, which ensures the credibility of the transaction and allows the user to not spam the blockchain. Then there is the mainnet is also used to demonstrate that the blockchain is working. And also it's no longer a concept, it's a real life project. So, and also the mainnet application creates use cases for more decentralized applications to join the blockchain. So once we have one application on mainnet, there are going to be other applications which will be looking for an opportunity to join the blockchain. But how would they trust it? Because the code is open source and everything is available to the public ledger. They are more likely to be like, okay, fine. So we can have a now look over the existing code base, see how we can put our application on top of it, and we can work around that. And that is, I'm just building up to something that we have always been working on, and we have also discussed in the past, which is flow card. So that is, I'll also show you how it is from the conceptual side to the main side. Now we know a little bit about our mainnet. Now let's have a look over testnet. So testnet is a blockchain network used to run and test blockchains with projects before release. It's a straightforward approach for programmers and developers to design, edit, and test their project's functionalities and track its performance before making it public. So as we all know, that every time there is a new application in the market, it has gone through a rigorous phase of testing and a lot of integration testing, unit testing. Why we do that is because once we make it live and accessible to the public, we want to keep the errors to the minimum. Because I mean, it's not gonna, I cannot say that once we make an application live, it won't have any bugs or it won't have any errors. But if we have tested it enough, we can minimize those to the very least. So let's say we are making an application and we don't have a platform to test. So one developer cannot have just go ahead and say, yeah, this program won't break. No developer will be saying that, because there are scenarios which the developer never thought of, and those will occur once the project is live, and that's when the bugs come in. So what we can do using testnet is, let's say once the developer has some faith, okay, this program is working fine, so he puts it on the testnet. And once the project is on testnet, it has all the available features of the mainnet, and also alternatively known as the main network. So now let's say a testnet is also a replica of the existing blockchain. So now I'm building an application, I put it on testnet. Now I allow all the testers to go ahead and test all the application features in all the possible way and all the scenarios. So now they can always come back to me and they can always do all the tests, and they can come back to me and say, okay, these are the errors, and we can fix those before going to mainnet. But why we are doing this over testnet? It's because we have all the features available from the mainnet without the actual cost involved. So when I say the cost involved, I mean, so let's say if I want to make a transaction in the mainnet, I'm going to be involved, I'm going to be paying a little bit of fee for every transaction. But a tester, he'd be gonna be doing like more than 10, 20 of those transactions just to verify that function is working or not. But let's say if we just keep on doing that, the mainnet will make a lot of cost, and the cost will go a lot more than what the developer or the any application developer would have thought. But in testnet, we are not paying that tax. We are not paying that extra fine or extra amount, whatever. So when we put in the test network, we'll still be doing those transactions just like the way it should be doing. But in this time, we won't be paying any transactional cost. There won't be any fee involved. We can just go ahead and say, okay, yeah, this feature is working. The transactions are working fine, because it is an exact replica of the actual network. Testnets are sometimes they are slightly slower than the mainnet, but that's only because there are not as many nodes involved in the testnet as in the mainnet. So testnet is often used for, like, just like I said, development. So, and whenever we are trying to access or make an application public, we'll just go through this step of the way. So now let's have a look over why is testnet important. So just like I had earlier said, for all the development purposes, but there are other features as well. So a testnet aids in the creation of stable and unstable environment, that involves all the essential hardware and software components for the execution of test scenarios and bug detections. So the major part of the testnet is the cost involved. So every transaction, update, and the time a project is deployed, it will require a payment of blockchain fees, which will be frequent and repeated during the testing phase. It wouldn't be unreasonable to infer that this is high prices would needed to be efficiently test a product and examine its various choices. For example, if a problem is on the mainnet network occurs during a test phase, it can disrupt the entire network and its users' assets and transactions, causing users to lose money. Testing on the mainnet can be highly costly for developers and the cryptocurrency's overall reputation. Because let's say your application, you just directly deployed it on mainnet and there is some feature went wrong and something bad occurred or some bug happened. In that case, you are losing the amount involved in that particular transaction. It could hamper the overall code base. It could hamper overall application. And there will always be the trust issues once your application starts failing on the main network. Then there is quality assurance. Quality assurance is a crucial component of deploying high-performing, error-free application on the network. Various limits and elements significantly define the validity of a test result as our organizations change to a shift-left method to improve application quality. As a result, a test environment similar to mainnet conditions is required by the developers. Then there is compatibility. So a test network coins are incompatible with main network and vice versa. Necessitation and the creation of new coins or techniques resulting in considerably more prolonged, complicated, and costly processes. However, all the new projects must first be tested on a testnet, a separate blockchain with its genesis block. Developers may test every blockchain component before it's released, and people working in there, they can verify. So what did we understand over the testnet and mainnet? So basically, a testnet is a testing environment for all the features available on the blockchain for a developer to verify their application. So now the question that we all must be thinking about is, okay, fine. So we get it. So there is a mainnet and then there is a testnet. Mainnet is where we see the live applications, and then there is a testnet where the developers test all the applications. So how do we know if it's a testnet or it's a mainnet? So let's have a look over a flow card, for example. So let's say I'll just open up flow card. Okay, so this is the flow card. Okay, this works on a live blockchain, which is our flow blockchain. So let's say if I just go ahead and get started, I just log in with my Google account. And then once it's logged in, it'll be from the live blockchain and it'll be the actual values that is coming from the flow blockchain. So as you can see, all this value, this is coming from the live blockchain. So if I want to see how those values look, so I can just go ahead in my flowcard ID. And let's say the last one was flip I sent to someone. So I'm just gonna check the transaction. So this is a flow site. It is basically a place where you can check all the transactions from the live blockchain of the flow card. So any transaction detail you want to search for, you can just add in the block name, the address, or the transaction. And then you can check all the summary. So this is where all the values from the live flow blockchain is placed. So we can all have a look over the flow data. Okay, so this was a major feature why we opted for flow blockchain, was because there are actually one too many reasons. This is one of the major ones. So it was the transactional comments. So then, I mean, okay, so now we know there is a actual, this is from the mainnet. So now we know there is a mainnet, and then there has to be a testnet as well, right? So then there is, yes, there is also a testnet. So this is a testnet for flow site, where we can check all the available status of all the blocks or transactions. So someone who mined Medici, and they mined a few seconds ago something on the testnet, they are also verifying. Everyone goes through this process. So let's say if I want to just check my staging. So as you can see, these two tabs, okay, I'll just log out from here. Okay, so as you can see, these two have not a lot of difference out here. These two are almost identical. So the reason why they are identical is because we have deployed a similar application on the testnet to verify all the application and all the features if it is working correctly for us or not. So I'll just log into this staging ones. I'll just refresh the page once. Just give it a second. So if you guys remember, during our earlier classes, there was this one class where we are talking about wallets. So there was this wallet we discussed, which was MetaMask. So what we can do is we can also use the MetaMask, and we can use the test network coins and all for our applications. So let's say there is Ethereum's mainnet. Okay, I have 0 Ethereum right now, because to buy this, I'll actually have to spend the money. But let's say I'm trying to build an application on top of Ethereum, but I want to test it first. So what I can do is I can just go to the Robson test network. And so the way you add this money is you can just copy your address. There is faucet EcoFind, and where you can actually just add your currency to your wallet. So let's say I want to add some money to this particular wallet. So if I just address limited, please, okay. So since I've already added one today, I don't think it will allow me to add another one, because I think this is enough amount that they gave me for this particular testing purposes. So which I got, and it is 10 Ethereum coins. I think that is more than enough for all the testing that I'll probably be doing today. So then there is Etherscan. So this is the platform where all the Ethereum transactions take place, and we can actually visualize all the Ethereum transactions. So as you can see, there are people transacting almost every other second. And then there is fee involved, fee received as well. Then there is the number of transactions in the block. And then there is also the testnet for the same Ethereum one. So this is Etherscan as well, but this is for the testnet explorer. So a lot of people are also building applications on top of Ethereum, which as you can see, is also getting mined every second. Okay. All right. So server is, I'm not really sure why it's still not responding. Okay. So, all right. I'll just let it load for a second. Till then, let's just have a look over this. Let's pick up a feature to see if it'll be if it's working on the testnet or not. So let's say I'll just open a new tab. Okay. By the time this loads, let's have a look over some of the other wallet, other test networks that you can be picking on the MetaMask itself. So then there are lots of available test networks that you can directly add. So at first, if you just install the MetaMask, you won't be able to see all these available accounts. So what you'll need to do is you can just go to this show hide test network, and you can just select this as on. Once you do this, you'll be able to see all the test networks. But before that, you'll only be able to see Ethereum's mainnet, not the other test networks. Okay, I think server is still not properly up. So there is some delay, it's still loading. Okay, so till it loads, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I think it should load in some time. So if anyone has any questions, please go ahead.
Ritvik, I don't think your server page will load. Maybe some services or staging is down. That's what I just figured. Okay. Meanwhile, I just have a rather pointer as a developer. How do you go about finding those coins, and actually, what are the tips and tricks that you use as a developer to have? Of course, you cannot go buy coins from exchange to do the development bit. So how do you go about that?
Sorry, so I was on mute. So when we are talking about development process, so every time there is a new feature coming in, there's going to be a lot of testing. So every time there is a transactional cost involved. So what we do is, in our testnet, the application, the blockchain itself offers us the free currency, which can be burned, and it will be used to verify that transaction and confirm it. So that to just get access to that testnet amount, we don't have to go through a rigorous process of buying it. We can just add it directly to our wallet address, actually our test wallet address, to be precise. So once we add that money to our test wallet, we can just use that amount to burn whilever we are doing any transaction. And we can just constantly keep on going. As we just saw that Ethereum allowed me to get 10 ETH coins for all the transaction, and they had a limit of 10 coins per day. So for this account, let's say I can use the 10 Ethereum coins for the day for all the available testing, and 10 Ethereum coins is a lot actually, because I mean, we use very minimum amount to actually verify the transactions. So including our flow card. So whenever a new user just logs in, or the first time when he logs in, we actually give the user 0.02 flow coins, which is good for a little over 5,000 transactions. So now as we see the number and the amount that we gave to the user, that and the number of 5,000 transactions to happen from one user on a day is more likely to be impossible. So it has a very little impact, and we also verify all the application and the processes before we push it to the main network. Does that clear it?
Sure. No, thanks, Ritvik. Thanks for that.
Any other question? Okay. All right. So no. Okay. So
No, I think thanks, Ritvik. And if you are available, we can just get into a Teams call to the remote login server and switch on the services. I think that will be good.
Sure, sir. Let's do that.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, thanks, Ritvik. Thanks for the session.
Thank you.